What's going on, Renzo Gang? How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling? Today, it's been a little minute since I did these, but another WrestleMania joint. Now, this one is titled Vince McMahon Would Never Let This Happen to the WWE. If we're talking about WWE announcing they're going to Saudi Arabia for WrestleMania 43, which I'm very highly upset about that. And also saw that Andrade quietly left WWE. Yeah, I'm getting a little upset about WWE right now. But at the same time, it's not WWE, it's TKO since that's what the company sold up under. And at the end of the day, Vince, you still sold the company to TKO. So a lot of stuff that's going on, technically, it is your fault. Everyone's talking about Vince will never let this happen, but at the end of the day, he still did, and he sold the company to TKO. Like tickets are skyrocketing. And my thing is, okay, I get it that y'all trying to go international. My thing is this: if y'all gonna go international, y'all should at least first went to either London, Paris, or y'all could did Puerto Rico for WrestleMania 43. And instead, WrestleMania 42, you're going back to Las Vegas, and 43, you're going to Saudi Arabia. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about WrestleMania right now because this past WrestleMania 41, the build up to it was not all that, and then y'all going back to Las Vegas, then y'all going to Saudi Arabia. Then now I'm seeing that they're Saudi Arabia, they want like all the old school, wrestlers to actually compete and be there. And Sean already said there's not enough money in the world that's going to make him want to come back. And that's one thing about Shawn Michaels I do respect. He does not want to get back in the ring again. And I feel Shawn Michaels. And TKO, they're just getting too greedy. They're doing way too much and they're raising, the prices on tickets, and everyone's saying, how Triple H is messing up. No, it's not Triple H, that's TKO. Yeah, Vince kept it affordable, but at the same time, he still sold the company to TKO. At the end of the day, you still sold the company. But with that being said, Renzo Gang, we just gonna dive on into this WrestleMania news video. Let's see what they give us. And I'm upset that Andrade left WWE. I'm very upset about that. And shout out to Dominic Mysterio. He's now a double champion. He beat Vikingo del Hijo. Del Hijo del Vikingo. El Hijo del Vikingo. Sorry about that. I botched your name. I'm very sorry. He'll become the AAA champion. Like Dominic Mysterio is him. He's carrying both Guerrero and Mysterio legacy. Like Dominic Mysterio's putting in work. Let's dive on into it.
Vince McMahon would have never let this happen in WWE. Now, in September
But he did. He sold the
2025,
company
Mark
to
Shapiro,
TKO.
who's the president of TKO, spoke at a conference regarding WWE's ticket pricing, and he decided to use his platform to take a direct shot at Vince McMahon. WWE is not where the UFC yet is on ticket yield. We have our work to do there. We know we have a lot of room there
What?
because Vince McMahon was primarily pricing tickets for families and wasn't totally focused on maxing the opportunity there. Now that we've seen what we can do with UFC, we're replicating that in terms of ticket yield and holding back in advance sales when it comes to on location on WWE side.
See,
And
y'all doing too much. See, that's how you're gonna lose the fans, TKO. That's how you're gonna lose the fans. And it's bad enough that y'all done took the pay-per-views, PLEs off of Peacock. Like, why? ESPN? Excuse me. But whatever, go off. At the end of the day, Vince, you still sold the company to TKO, so it's still your fault, Vince.
it's working out really well. Now, these comments have led to significant backlash from fans, and these comments ultimately highlight the difference between the way Vince McMahon operated WWE compared to the way TKO are currently steering the ship. First, let's look at the outrageous ticket prices.
ticket
Now, under the
prices
TKO era of
straight.
WWE, ticket prices have gradually increased year on year. Whilst this business
Yes.
practice is understandable, Shapiro outright declaring that it could increase their prices is very alarming. The pricing model a company utilizes has already received a ton of backlash, as most fans simply can't afford to attend shows, and attending major events such as WrestleMania has really become a once-in-a-lifetime purchase for fans. But it really shouldn't be this way. Now, first case in point is WrestleMania 42's ticket prices. According to a loyal WWE fan called Beard Guy, tickets have become out of control. In fact, according to him,
They
front and
have.
center seats for each night of WrestleMania 42 in Las Vegas are being listed as 70,000 per ticket. Meanwhile,
Good
seats in rows
God.
2 and 3 aren't much
70,000? See, TKO, y'all, man, they done destroyed WWE. TKO done destroyed WWE. And I don't want to hear nobody out there saying, Vince will never let that happen. Because first of all, Vince sold the company to TKO. So this is Vince's fault. That's Vince McMahon's fault. He sold the company to TKO. That's and for WrestleMania 42, they were talking about going to New Orleans. I actually was going to go to that. That would be my first WrestleMania. But y'all going back to Vegas and then y'all going to Saudi Arabia the next year. Come on, man. You cannot be serious. And how they feel, you know what?
better at all, with prices somewhere between
I'm gonna try to go to
$35,000 to
SummerSlam. Like I
$50,000
said, I'm gonna
each.
try.
Now, to put this in perspective, last year WrestleMania 41's front row center tickets were priced around $50,000, an
Good
astronomical
God.
figure in itself, but when you compare that to last year, it's around $20,000 more for that individual ticket. The same goes for rows 2 and 3, as they were around the 30,000 to 35,000 range. This leap in
Bro,
ticket
why
cost for
ticket
WrestleMania
prices so
42 is
high?
substantial, especially for those closest to the ring. Now, we're all aware of Green Shirt Guy in WWE, the man who's attended almost every WWE event since 2012, and he always manages to get that
Love
illustrious
it.
front row center seat. Now, word is it
Love
that
it.
he spent $100,000 on his ticket last year at WrestleMania 41. What he does in order to afford that is his business alone. But dropping $100,000 on one ticket is insane, and the main problem is that when TKO acknowledged that people are still spending this amount of money on tickets, it's only going to get worse from there. Perhaps next year
It
he'll
really
drop
is.
$200,000 on the seat. But it's strange that Mark Shapiro is taking a shot at McMahon for his version of pricing models. Taking aim at McMahon for his conduct in relation to the allegations facing him is fair game. However, taking a shot at him for making WWE tickets affordable to families is totally uncalled for. What is the goal
It
with
really
that particular
is.
comment? McMahon's approach when it
And my thing is, at the end of the day, like Vince, you brought it on yourself. You shouldn't have been doing the stuff you were doing behind closed doors, and you shouldn't have sold the company to TKO, knowing that they were going to do this. Like Vince, you knew what they were going to do. Don't act like you didn't know what they were going to do. Like y'all are just money hungry. Like it's going to get to a point where the fans are going to reject WWE, and they're going to start, you know, going over to AEW. Because at least AEW's tickets are affordable, at least, like, but and y'all can't put this on Triple H. It's not Triple H. At the end of the day, Triple H is not the owner of the company. TKO is. And I ain't gonna lie, I applaud Vince McMahon for making tickets affordable. I applaud him for that. But these ticket prices, 50,000 and 70,000, that's ridiculous. You can just imagine how much tickets gonna cost in Saudi Arabia. You can just imagine. And then for WrestleMania 42, they were saying some of the fans they couldn't, have their money back refundable in the hotel. I'm like that's ridiculous. That's how you gonna lose fans for life. Like TKO, since y'all so money hungry, y'all gonna lose money. I'm telling you. Even some of the celebrities even saying like that. That's a bit much. Like I'm telling you, TKO, y'all gonna cause WWE to fall. Like y'all better straighten up.
came to ticket prices were never a contested issue, and using the fact that he used a pricing model so families could watch the product seemed like a bizarre and unnecessary shot. Shapiro's comments directed at pricing tickets for families is worth examining, as what exactly does Shapiro mean by this? Is he suggesting that WWE is no longer for families? Well, if that's the case, why is the product still a PG presentation, and why do all their
Exactly.
respective sponsors, including Mattel,
Duh.
know that the product is no longer aimed at families? Now, it could be the case that Mark Shapiro wanted to brag and boast in a business setting in regards to how well the product is doing, and that's fine, but the comments directed at McMahon and outright admitting that ticket sales can be increased is frustrating to say the very least. Ticket prices under McMahon's regime at WWE seemed fair. When you look at ticket prices
I
around
agree.
WrestleMania 19, ticket prices for front row center were going around about $400 to maybe even
Okay,
$1,000 at
that's
most. And
fair.
whilst we could make the difference for inflation, it still wouldn't come anywhere near
That's fair. $400, $400 to $500 for front row seats compared to 50 to 70,000. That's too much, man. Like, and there's a lot of people out there, including myself, that's never been to WrestleMania. I have not even been to a single PLE yet. I've only been to regular shows. I haven't even been to a house show. I've only been to Raw, SmackDown, and AEW Dynamite and Rampage. I haven't even been. I can't wait till NXT start going back on the road and come back to North Carolina because I definitely want to go to an NXT show. At least they're affordable, at least. And then I've never been to NXT, so the love of my life, Jada Parker, is there, and Stephanie Vaquer. Yeah, move over, Miles Bourne. That's mine. And whoever got Jada Parker, that's mine. Yeah.
Near the ticket pricing that we have today. But what does TKO feel is the justification for increasing its ticket prices? But what Shapiro needs to realize is that for them to increase ticket prices over the years, the product has to remain hot, popular, and relevant. Wrestling, particularly WWE, goes through highs and lows, and this has been the case for decades. If TKO expects to just ride the wave of that initial momentum, then it's going to dramatically fail. Soon enough, they could find themselves with half-empty arenas and being forced to lower ticket prices, making it so that fans can actually afford tickets to attend shows. TKO in essence inherited a wrestling product that was red hot. Due to McMahon, who definitely lost his way from a creative aspect, being out of the picture, and Triple H taking charge of WWE creative, the WWE product was seen as cool again by many, and lapsed fans were reintroduced to the product. WWE also had the Bloodline story firing on all cylinders, and for the first time since perhaps the 90s,
I ain't gonna lie, the Bloodline, I'm sorry to keep pausing this, y'all, but the Bloodline storyline low-key got WWE up to the heights that is at. Roman and the Bloodline, they got the WWE up to the heights. Like they really did. You can't deny it. I mean, I'm just saying you can't deny it.
WWE product had universal appeal. But what happens if Triple H drops the ball from a creative aspect? Does TKO simply replace him? Well, Triple H is, well, mostly well-liked by fans, and the question would be who would TKO even replace him with? That's the primary issue here. TKO would then expect this new name to take them to the promised land once more, but there's no guarantee that this would happen. And even if they replace Triple H, talent morale could completely crash, as who's to say that the person who replaces Triple H even knows anything about wrestling in general? Whilst fans love to poke fun at Triple H's creative, the same couldn't be said for the talent, as a lot of the locker room adore Triple H. Most of the names in the locker room work with the game in NXT, and they see him as a father figure. We all saw earlier in the year how the locker room reacted to WWE cutting R-Truth from his WWE deal, so a similar situation could occur there. But this is why Vince McMahon was good for WWE. Vince McMahon had a solid business sense, but he always wanted to make wrestling affordable to all. This was a smart approach, as even when the pro wrestling product wasn't hot, and it sure wasn't during the final few years running WWE, ticket prices weren't so insanely high that fans attending shows would feel ripped off. Well, that is unless they were watching the main event of WrestleMania 34. McMahon had a grounded yet realistic approach to pricing, and it worked throughout multiple decades of running WWE. Sadly for TKO, they want more and more money, and they aren't going to stop until every last cent is squeezed out of every WWE fan. Now it's interesting whenever fans compare Vince McMahon to Triple H, they often state that McMahon lived and breathed WWE. WWE was truly his life, and he was notable for barely sleeping as he couldn't turn off his mind of all things pro wrestling. McMahon rarely missed a show, and if he did, he would always be on the phone directing traffic, even if this was down to heavy micromanaging. But this was evidently a role that McMahon missed dearly, as according to numerous guests at his 80th birthday party, McMahon began to manage the proceedings at his own party by wearing a WWE-style headset. In relation to Triple H, there's no denying that he has a true love for the art of wrestling, but more recently, it's been asked, is his heart truly in it? The game has a habit of popping off on the internet any chance he gets, and this is a far cry to the Triple H that first took over WWE creative all those years ago. Is running WWE too much for one man to handle? It's certainly a taxing job, and a job that many of us couldn't do. And it goes without saying that hopefully Triple H is looking after himself and remembering that he's just the head of WWE creative. There are so many other factors that go into the company thriving financially.
See, that's what people need to realize. Triple H is head of WWE creative. He's not the owner of the company. Like, stop placing blame on Triple H. TKO is the blame for this, not Triple H. Y'all have got to realize this. I've said this plenty of times.
But the accusations that the game may have lost his passion for WWE were furthered on September 9th, 2025. The game appeared on the Pat McAfee show, and he had zero idea that a planned world title segment between Io Sky and Stephanie Vaquer hadn't gone ahead on Raw. Shockingly, he revealed that he wasn't on Raw, and he was at Kill Tony, and he hadn't even watched the show yet. This revelation took the internet by storm, as how on earth isn't Triple H watching his own product? The world title segment was one of, if not the biggest planned segments for the show, and
you can tell, like, Triple H, he's going with the flow, but at the same time, it's really getting to him, like, This is not how the WWE fans. The WWE was really ran. It's TKO. They're doing too much, and you can tell it's weighing on Triple H a lot, and you can tell like he's not really into his product like that. Like you can just tell the fans are uninterested, and I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes when I'm watching the product, I'm barely interested now, and it's like that's how bad it's getting. Like and then it's like some of these storylines are getting pointless, and it's like it's actually kind of hard watching WWE right now. It's really hard. Then like only time it get interesting is when you bring the big names, and then half the time when you bring in the big names, it's like okay. I'm not gonna lie, they really ruined John Cena's heel turn. They're ruining his retirement tour. I'm not gonna lie, like they dropped the ball on John Cena's retirement tour. Like they dropped the ball. I'm not gonna lie. At first it started out good, and then it got stale, like real fast. Like it's like I got tired of seeing like, okay, I grew up on John Cena. Well, I grew up on rocking him, but then John Cena, it's kind of hard. It's at the point. It's like, okay, I'm ready for you to go. And I love John Cena. Like he deserves a good, retirement tour. Any superstars getting ready to retire, they deserve probably the best retirement tour of all time. And someone like John Cena and what he's done for the company, like he deserves like one of the biggest retirement tours of all time. And it's like y'all dropped the ball, just like with his heel turn. That was just pointless what y'all did with his heel turn. That was pointless. And have The Rock and Travis Scott do all that, just like that was for what? That was pointless.
The fact that he didn't even know it didn't occur suggests that WWE creative simply isn't a focus for him right now. Why was Kill Tony more important than attending the flagship show? Who was producing Raw in his absence? Why didn't he bother to even watch the show even after? These comments raised so many
He's losing
questions, and it was
interest. You can
ultimately a
tell.
terrible look for Triple H and TKO as a whole. Now let's be fair, Vince McMahon is many things, and most of the insults you could throw at McMahon are justified.
Yeah,
However,
he
a
is a lot of
puppet is
things.
one word you could never use to describe him. McMahon didn't like taking directions from anyone, and his
He
micromanagement
sure
style
didn't.
was often a detriment
But at the same time, you sold the company to TKO, man. So come on now. Like, get real, Vince. You still did it.
to WWE's
Yo,
success and his
I'm
own poor
frustrated
relationship
because
with his
WWE
talent.
is, I don't know
Triple
what's
H has
going on,
stripped
man.
back the micromanagement style, and in return, talent morale has gone through the roof. However,
WWE is
is it
really
possible that
frustrating me
Triple
right
H is
now.
just acting as a puppet for TKO and doing their bidding? As we mentioned, TKO could in theory drop the game whenever they liked, and they definitely seem as a face
Hmm.
of the corporate brand of WWE TKO. Triple H is featured in virtually all marketing materials for WWE, and they seem as a former notable wrestling personality that is recognizable and fans and wider consumers happen to know. TKO doesn't know how to operate WWE or a pro wrestling company. It's
They
unknown
don't.
territory for them. Vince McMahon had the ability to do absolutely everything in WWE, ranging from running the show to commentary, and that's the striking difference between McMahon and TKO. Thankfully, TKO has made so many welcome changes to the way
And
WWE
then all
operates.
these
The
commentaries,
abolishment
they
of live
starting to
events
disappear off
every
TV.
single
Like, what's
weekend has
going
helped
on?
talent rest, but some would argue that this was done as TKO saw the profits margin as too slim. It wasn't done in order to preserve the health of the talent. This has even been supported by the number of international dates that TKO now looks to deliver each year,
Good
as
God,
their
those
business model
international
has gone from
dates.
live events every weekend to sporadic international shows that warrant a significant price tag to attend. Ultimately, is WWE a better place for talent now that McMahon is out of the picture? Well,
Mm.
absolutely. However, it would depend on
Yeah,
who
but
you would ask. Despite the outstanding accusations levied against McMahon, he still has his supporters, and this was seen by the massive stars attending his recent birthday party. When it comes to the fans, the WWE product from a creative aspect is without a doubt in a much better place. McMahon's creative output during his final
I
few
wouldn't say
active
all that.
years could often be horrendous, and he was often booking to appease himself and nobody else. However, McMahon didn't see WWE as a way to make endless amounts of money, and he was never focused on increasing prices to such an extent where it's now alienated the core demographic families. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.
Yo, if I seem like I'm, irritable with this, like the way WWE has been ran, I'm not happy about it at all. So obviously, y'all can feel my frustrations through this, and then it's really hard sitting there watching WWE now. Like it really is, and like is and you can tell like all the superstars are getting frustrated, and then all these international tours. Like it's fine and all that, but if y'all gonna have WrestleMania go out the country, it should have been to London first or Paris, not Saudi Arabia. And then a lot of superstars don't even really like going to Saudi Arabia now. A lot, it, oh my goodness, like I don't understand what TKO is doing to the company. Like, and then these ticket prices are overly too much. It's out of is too much. Y'all doing too much of the ticket prices. Like y'all too money hungry. Y'all too greedy. Calm it down. So I don't know, Renzo Gang. Then it is really hard right now to even talk about WWE. Like it really is. It's just it's too much. Like it's just too much. Too much. But and and also I'm very upset about the whole Andrade thing. Him leaving WWE quietly. You see, Renzo Gang. Post the comments down below. Let me know what you thought. If you enjoyed this reaction video, especially all my WWE fans, hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Y'all, we we going through we a lot of ups and downs, and right now we're going through a downfall right now. Hopefully something can give. Hopefully, TKO will be forced to lower them ticket prices. Well, I don't know. We'll see. I love y'all, Renzo Gang. I will see y'all next time.